When you hear about some huge new discovery, do you ever stop and think, how did they even come up with that? Well, it's not some stroke of genius out of nowhere. It's actually a process. It's a structure. It's architecture. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how new knowledge gets built, from that first tiny idea all the way to the final blueprint. So let's dive in.
So, where do new ideas come from? I mean, really? If you're a researcher, you can't just invent something out of thin air, right? Innovation, it turns out, is a lot more about observation. It's about looking at this huge map of everything we already know and spotting the blank spaces.
And that blank space, well, that's what we're calling the missing piece. Seriously, every single great study, every breakthrough you've ever heard of, it all started because one person, or a team of people, looked at the puzzle of what we know and said, hey, wait a minute, there's a piece missing right here.
Now, there's a more formal name for this, of course. In the academic world, they call it a research gap. It's pretty straightforward, right? It's the question or the problem that just hasn't been answered yet in a specific field. You can almost think of it like the frontier of knowledge. It's the edge of the map where it says, "Here be dragons," and that's exactly where the exploration has to start.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. A research gap is what is missing. It's so simple but so powerful. It's not about trying to reinvent the entire car. It's about finding that one stretch of road that's still a dirt path and saying, we need to pave this. Finding that gap, that is step one. It's the absolute most important first step you can take.
Okay, so finding a gap is important, but it's more than just an empty space. It's the spark. It's the thing that lights the fire for the whole project. Why? Because finding a gap is how you answer the most brutal, most important question anyone will ever ask you about your research. So what?
That research gap is your proof. It shows your study isn't just repeating something someone else already did. It establishes that this is necessary, that it's urgent. Let's take an example, right? E-scooters. They're everywhere. We could ask, why are they so popular? Maybe tons of studies have looked at costs or convenience. But what if the research gap is that nobody's really studied the fun factor? The so what there is huge. City planners need to know that if they're going to figure out traffic and regulations.
All right, so you've done it. You've found your gap, you've got your spark. Now what? You can't just run out and start asking questions. How do you actually build the thing, the machine that's going to study it? Well, you might be surprised, but the very next step is actually kind of philosophical.
That's right. Before you pick a single tool or method, you have to choose your worldview. And this is a big deal. It's the deep-down, fundamental set of beliefs you have about the world and how we can even know things. It's going to guide every single decision you make from here on out.
The best way to wrap your head around this is to think of it like a lens, like a pair of glasses. The lens you choose to put on changes how you see everything. It's the filter through which you see the world, and it dictates what you believe is possible to even find out. So yeah, it's not just some small choice. It literally shapes the entire reality of your research.
So let's look at 4 of these big lenses based on the incredible work of John Cresswell. Think of these as different hats a researcher can wear. First up, you've got post-positivism. This is your classic scientists. They believe in objective reality, cause and effect. With our e-scooter example, they'd be the ones crunching city data, trying to prove if scooter usage causes a drop in bus rides. All about the numbers. Then you have constructivism. This researcher is more of an interpreter. They believe reality is subjective, created by our experiences. So they'd go out and interview scooter riders, trying to understand the meaning of the experience. What's the story behind it? The feeling of freedom, the frustration. Next is the advocacy lens. This is the activist researcher. They're not just trying to understand the world, they want to change it. They might study whether scooter availability is fair across different neighborhoods, pushing for more social justice. And finally, there's pragmatism. This is the ultimate problem solver. They don't get bogged down in philosophy, they just want to know what works. Their question might be, what's the absolute fastest way to use scooters to solve traffic jams? As you can see, the lens you pick completely changes the question you ask. Okay, so once you've picked your worldview, your lens, now you've got to choose a path. And really, in the world of research, it usually boils down to 2 main highways. You can go qualitative or you can go quantitative.
And the difference between them is huge. Quantitative is all about numbers. It's about measuring things, testing hypotheses, and using statistics. It's deductive, meaning you start with a theory and test it. Think, I believe X causes Y. Let's go get the numbers to prove it. Qualitative is the total opposite. It's about exploration. It deals in words, stories, observations. It's inductive, which means you start with the observations and build a theory from them. It's not about testing what we think we know. It's about exploring what we don't even know we don't know.
And this is a perfect way to visualize it. On one side, you've got the superstructured, blueprint-driven world of quantitative research. It's like an engineering textbook. Everything has a place. On the other side, you've got the much more open, organic, exploratory journey of qualitative research. Neither one is better than the other. They're just fundamentally different ways of discovering something new.
Okay, let's recap. We've got our missing piece, the gap. We've picked our lens, our worldview, and we've chosen our main path, qualitative or quantitative. Now, it's time to put it all together. Time to build the actual blueprint.
And this right here, this is the magic framework. It shows that it's all connected. At the top, you've got your big picture worldview. That flows down into your strategy. Are you going to run an experiment, a case study? And that then flows down into your specific methods, the tools you use, like surveys or interviews. It all has to line up. It's got to be a perfect 3-layer cake.
So here it is, the architecture of a study, broken down into 3 steps. Step 1, choose your lens. What are your core beliefs about knowledge? Step 2, select your path. Based on that lens, what's your overall strategy going to be? And finally, step 3, pick your tools. What specific methods, like surveys or observations, are you going to use to walk that path? See how each one flows right from the one above it? It has to make sense.
Because at the end of the day, a really solid research design is just like a machine with a bunch of gears. Every single piece, from your big philosophical worldview all the way down to the exact wording of a question on a survey, has to mesh together perfectly. When all those gears are turning in sync, that's when you get a study that's not just powerful, but also believable and credible.
And there you have it. That is the architecture of how new knowledge is made. It's not magic. You start by finding what's missing. Then you choose the lens you're going to use to look at it. And then you build a solid, logical plan to go explore it. It's a beautiful process, really. Which just leaves me with one final question for you. What's the missing piece of the puzzle that you're most curious about?